welcome to Spark TV. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am so good and I'm so excited to talk to you. Long time stalker,
Love that.
love you in Spark, all the things. So I'm so excited to actually have you on the podcast and pick your brains and
I
share your
love
wisdom with
this.
everybody. I'm very excited.
Amazing. Me too. Thank you so much. I've loved being inside Spark, and I think it's nice to find a community of people who get what you're at like certain levels of business.
Yeah.
Like it's nice to be able to be in a room of people and you say something and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's me." And I'm like,
I know.
"Yes." So
I
I'm so
know.
glad to be here.
I know, because it can be a bit isolating sometimes, and you're sitting
Yeah.
like in your home office going, am I the only person on the planet experiencing this?
Yeah.
And
Am
wait,
I the drama? Am
yeah, is
I
it
the
me?
drama?
It's not. Spoiler, it's not.
I love it.
All right, let's start off by telling everybody who you are and what you do.
Fabulous. I'm Leah and I run the Productivity Queen, which sounds really fancy. And we were saying off air, basically I just yell at people to get shit done. It's pretty much predominantly what I do. So I
I
actually
would
work
like to
in
have that job.
it's a fun job. It's very cathartic. So I'm actually more so in the online business management space as well, but I also do offer productivity mentoring in the form of ass kicking, and then obviously things that are a little bit more in depth into really getting in and, as I like to say, getting balls deep into someone's business and figuring out what's working, what's not working, and how we can restructure your business to suit your lifestyle as opposed to the other way around. Because a lot of people do that. They start a business for flexibility, for freedom, for time, money, whatever it is. And then we end up treating it like a job sometimes, and it ends up being the other way around. So, sometimes I come in with that fresh perspective and I'm like, yep, no, let's just we're going to redo all this shit and we're going to make it work better for you. So, yeah, I
That
love
is
it.
so good. I love that. I love that. And oh my God, there's a lot to unpack there. So let's start with what the fuck is productivity?
Oh my God. I was just doing a masterclass on this earlier today in another community, and I really struggle to bring across how much I love productivity to
Mm.
other people, right? Because I say, yeah, let's be productive. And people just roll their eyes. And some people in the back are like, fuck this. And they just get up and leave, right? So I'm like, how can we make productivity sexy again?
Mm.
And the biggest thing for me is like, the one reason I find people are so unproductive is because they are so unaligned with the shit that they're doing. And I know that sounds really
Oh,
woo-woo, right? But like if you
bring it
pick up
on.
your to-do list and you're like, wow, this looks like so much fun today. And if you're not excited about it, you're not going to get it done, right? And
Mm.
generally speaking, is because the shit you have on here, clearly
Yeah.
this is a very blank to-do list. The shit you have on your to-do list, if you're not excited about it, is because it's not actually aligning with anything that you want to do in the future.
Mm.
So and this comes across in many different areas of your business, right? When you struggle to be like, where's my next step? Or I feel like I'm plateauing, or feel like I'm not moving forward, or why isn't this working? And it's because generally what you're doing is no longer working towards your big vision or your big goals. And that could be because you've lost sight of those, happens all the
Mm.
time. Or it could be because those visions and goals no longer align with where you are in your business. So you're now doing shit that no longer makes you feel good, which means you're
Mm.
not going to do it, which means you're not productive.
Okay, so this is so good because I just text my partner. I was like, I'm just feeling a little flat today. And I think
Mm-hmm.
you just uncovered what my fucking problem is.
Yep.
I That is so interesting because you're so right. Like sometimes I feel like we think all of the things that we write down on this to-do list are the things that are going to help move us closer to our goals. But I guarantee you no one's sitting down in the morning and actually assessing, okay, this is what I want to achieve in life. This is the vision. How do I get there?
Yes.
Do these annoying little tasks that I'm doing actually move
Mm-hmm.
the goalpost?
Yeah.
And
And it even
now,
comes down to like the client work that you're doing. So
yeah.
I know I went through this transition phase where I really enjoyed doing certain things. And then I was moving into like the online business management space and the productivity mentoring space. And I was like, now there's things on that to-do list that I do for clients that just don't light me up anymore. Because
Yeah.
it's not where I see my business
God.
going anymore. So it's like it's
Yeah.
okay to not want to keep doing that stuff. And that's
Mm.
why, like, that is honestly why you're not productive. It's not because you don't want to do it. You just don't understand how it's actually benefiting you.
Yeah.
because that's
And
what our brains are wired to do. It's like, if I do this thing, how, like, it's a what's in it for me. If I do
mm.
this, what's in it for me? If I can't see what's in it for me, why the fuck am I doing it?
And do you think sometimes there's a bridge between, okay, my vision has moved, but I still have to do all of this client work, or I still have to do all of this, or I still have to do all of that because I haven't quite got to there yet.
Yes.
And that stuff has to fund the new dream.
Yeah. And I definitely feel like I can speak to this because this is where I was at not so long ago.
Mm.
And I would love to say there's a magical fairy godmother out there that's like, oh, you don't want to do that anymore, and you want to move on to this thing, and you want to be like fully booked out and everything's going to be fine. Bam, bitch, there you go. But obviously that's not how it works, right?
Could you send her my way, please?
Right. If
Thank
I ever
you.
find her, people, I
Yes,
will let
please.
you all know. And like, because that just doesn't happen, right? So it's
Mm.
like, how do you transition from one to the other without like it being a massive dip in revenue, without freaking out, without being
Yeah.
like, oh my God, how am I going to make this work? And unfortunately, this is where you have to go from walking in your business to running in your business. So
Mm.
I use the analogy of when we were babies, we had to learn how to walk before we could run,
Yes.
which is exactly what we do in business. We learn how to walk. And once we're good at doing the things that we're good at walking, we start running. But then eventually we get kind of burnt out and we're not really sure if that's what we want to do anymore. So we go back to walking.
Yeah.
Totally fine. But in order for you to get to the next step, you got to do a little bit of running. You got to start realizing that you have to put in a little bit more hard work. You have to put in a little bit
Mm.
more hours. And it's like, how can you slowly start re-educating your clients? How can you start changing your messaging? How can you start transitioning some of your clients from the old stuff that you want to do to the new stuff that you want to do? So there's no magical wand. There's no, in 6 months, it'll all be fine and everything will work out. You just have to give it a go. But you do have to realize that it's just that time. You're
Mm.
running, and where you're running to is your own race. Like nobody else is
Yeah.
running the same marathon. Nobody else is doing the same power walk as you. So you can take as long or as little as you want to get there. There's no time frame on it, but it's just, in order for you to go back to being productive, you have to start pushing yourself towards things that actually make you feel good.
Yeah, that is so interesting. I just love what you just said, that you're running the race against yourself and there is no timeline,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like half the time the stress in my life is all self-imposed. Yes, yes,
100%.
I have client stress sometimes
Yeah.
when I'm
I
got
mean, who doesn't?
deadlines.
That's why
Yeah,
we have businesses, right?
because we love it.
I love it.
But I feel like I need to achieve XYZ this year or else
Oh,
it's just my own doing.
yeah. Fuck it off. Like literally just
Totally.
fuck it off. Like I
Totally.
think it all comes down to where you're at in your business and where you're at in your timeline of your journey. So I'm a mum. I also run
Mhm.
a business. 2 or 3 years ago, if someone had said to me, what's your 5-year plan? I'd be like, still parenting. That's
Yeah.
what I'm doing. Still doing the
Keep
same fucking thing, looking
keep
after the
kids
same
alive.
kid. Like,
Yeah.
whereas now, like my son just turned, depending on when this comes out, my son turned 14 in October 2023.
Mhm.
So my 5-year plan looks so different now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not because I want it to look differently. It can look differently. Like
Yes.
I can now sit here and go, and I've told my son many times before, the day after you turn 18, I am on a one-way ticket to Greece to work overseas for 6 months. Like, see you
Oh,
later, buddy. Mum's living her best
nice.
life. Sorry, those are my little emojis that come up with my mic. I keep forgetting.
That just made my day.
I know, right?
Balloons over the screen. This is fantastic.
Right. Um, but yeah, so it's just like you have to start figuring out what it is that you want in your life and where you're at, and just figure out what those goals look like for you.
Mm.
So if someone's like, and I think this is where I get frustrated sometimes with social media, it's like how to grow to a 7-figure business, in 18 months or whatever, or 12 months, or like, fucking shoot me now.
Oh my
Like,
God. It drives me mental.
for starters, is that even a goal for you?
Mm.
Because if it's not a goal for you, stop chasing somebody else's idea of a goal.
Yes. I love
Like
that.
that brings us 100% back to you're running in somebody else's race.
Yes.
They haven't given you the proper instructions. They haven't given you the proper guidance.
Yeah.
And they just expect you to follow along and receive the same outcome. It's like, it's not even
Totally.
your race. So you really need to look at where your business is at, where your life is at. And if 5 years down the track looks too crazy, then just worry about the next 12 months.
Yeah. And I love and that's really interesting because I know, so I went on this journey. I started my other business, Scrunch, the influencer marketing software marketing agency. And we went down the tech startup route, raise millions of dollars, have a ginormous team, have expensive
Yeah.
office space, headline, headline, headline. Oh my fucking God, it was the worst. And burnt it all to the ground. And now I have like 2 amazing employees, a whole bunch of freelancers. We all work 100% virtual. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Not still without its stress, but it's the model
Yeah.
that I would like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're so right. It's like I just turned around, I was miserable, and I just turned around and I was like, well, that seems stupid because you're the boss.
Yeah.
So you're the one that made all of this happen.
Yeah. But
So
you did
why
it
don't you fix
because
it?
that's what you thought you had to make.
100%.
Like if I want to do if I want to be a tech startup and this is what I want to do, well, that's what everybody else is doing. And that seems
100%.
to be the version of success. So that's what my goals have to look like. That's the vision for
Yes.
my business. And when you start doing that, you start losing sight of what it is you actually want.
Oh,
And you burn out, you get stressed, you stop doing the shit that you need to be doing. And all of a sudden you're chasing your tail going,
yes.
why do I feel like I'm just surviving from one day to the next?
Oh my God, that's so true. So how do we figure out what we want?
I know, right? The golden question, Leah.
The
Tell me how. The
Like, are there
biggest
questions that you would say ask yourself, or like a process you go through, or
for me, I take my clients through like a values process. Like, what are your values? Because what
yes.
you value in your personal life is very much going to align with what you value in your business. Because
Mm,
generally speaking, and in most cases, your business should be supporting your personal and your lifestyle. So
yes.
if those don't align, then it sometimes can be really hard to try to figure that out. So once you kind of have an understanding of what it is that you value, like say, for example, I value quality time with my son. He
Yeah.
is 14. He doesn't want to hang out with his mum all the time. I'm not cool anymore. So,
No.
right? So I've moved from quantity time with my son to quality time with
Mhm.
my son. And that's what I value. So in order for me to do that, I now structure my business so that I can try to get as much as I can done in the times that I know either my clients are going to be online, he's going to be at school, or he's going to be at like with friends or whatever, so that when we do have quality time on the weekends or late nights, it's actually quality time.
Yes. Your head's not somewhere else, or it's not, I've just got to catch up
100%.
with emails or whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like that's a version of like, in order for me to figure out what it is I want, I have to understand what it is that I value the most, because
I
that's going to
love that.
fuel what it is that I want. I don't want to be working until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a business owner. Sometimes I have to do that, right? But I want to be able to make that an option for me. I don't want it to be something that I have to do every day to make my business run. So
Yes.
I choose to work during school hours right now because I want to be able to spend quality time. When my son leaves school, there's a good chance I'm going to be able to do whatever it is the fuck that I want.
That's
So
so
it's like you just have to find what you value to then be able to create a business structure that suits that value. So fortunately, there is no like plus these 7 things, divide it by these 4 and you'll get this. I wish, but start with what it is you value and then go, cool, well, how can I build a structured business to support those values? Because whatever the outcomes are in my business, that's going to align with the values that I want to achieve in my personal life.
And I love how you said when he leaves school, it might change.
Yeah.
Like we are not locked into,
Nope.
what works today may not work next year or 5 years or 10 years or whatever. And so we're allowed to also change our minds.
Exactly. And like I'm saying 4 or 5 years down the track, like he may decide in year 10 or 11 that he wants to leave and do an apprenticeship.
Totally.
So then it could change again. Like it really does depend on what is happening in your life. And I think you have to be understanding that it can flex and flow. Like there is no like, this is how I set my business up on day 1. So this is what it has to be until the day I die or I sell it or I decide to stop it. Like you can change it as much as you like, as much or as little, like it's your business.
Yeah, I love that. I remember, so when I first found out that you could start businesses,
Yeah.
decades ago, I know. And so I read The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim
Yes.
Ferriss, and I was like, hold on a second. you're telling me you can just design the life that you want to live. You can just
Mm,
invent a business. Like anyone can just make this shit up. And I was so fascinated by it. But
mm,
I think like, and to my point before, I got into this spiral of reading headlines and following
mm.
other people and what they were doing, and kind of got myself into this state of, oh my God, what the hell did I build?
Yeah.
So then the realization that, oh no, I can actually change things
Yeah.
is okay. And look, it wasn't easy. I had to go through
No.
the process of, okay, what do I actually want this to look like? Yes, it's not going to happen on day one. I still
Yeah.
have to do some things that I don't love doing. But at least I know I'm working towards the model that
Exactly.
suits the values I have in the lifestyle I want.
Yeah. Like you're willing to take uncomfortable action if you know
Yeah.
the outcome is going to get you closer to what it is that you want. So the reason you don't take it is because you are so unclear about what that looks like for you in the future.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's so good. I love that term, uncomfortable action,
Oh God,
because
yeah.
because it still sucks. Like,
Yeah. Like,
even
don't get
though
me wrong.
I
It's not because I know what I want. I wake up every morning and I'm like, fuck
yes,
yeah, I'm going to do
it's the
all the
best.
things. Like, sometimes I still sit here and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I know that if I do it, it's going to be good.
Oh
So
my
it's still
God.
like, there are some things that are still uncomfortable, but I know that by doing it, one,
Mm,
I'm going to become more comfortable with it. But
yes.
two, eventually I'm going to get to a point where it's going to get me somewhere in my business so that I may not actually need to do that uncomfortable action anymore.
Oh, the dream.
Right? Like, transfer that responsibility to someone else or just fuck it off altogether.
That is so good. I love that. How did you get into this? What did
That
you
is a,
did you
that's
have
a
a
very good question.
career, or did you have other businesses, or what the hell?
What the hell? How did it all happen? Take us back in time. So, um, I had worked probably for about 15 years in the corporate world prior to starting my business. I had spent just over 10 years of that in the travel, events, and hospitality industry.
Oh,
So I was very used to moving groups of people of anywhere from like 500 to like 5,000
wow.
for events, travel groups, all those bits and pieces, conferences, the whole kit and caboodle. I had been made redundant from my what I thought was going to be my forever career company.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out. So I was made redundant and I was like, shit. So I thought, okay, I'll use those same skills, but I'll just go in a slightly different direction. So instead of being on the travel side of events and conferences, I was going to be on the hotel side. And it was
Mm,
fun and I was enjoying it, but it just wasn't the same love that I had for it before. And then unfortunately, 1 year and 3 days to the day, good old COVID hit.
yes. Oh
Um,
my God.
so then I was stood down until the September of that year. And I was very like very realistic in the fact that I was in an industry where having more than a group of 10 people together was not possible.
Oh God,
And I
that
was
is, I
organizing
remember.
hundreds, if not thousands of people. So I was like,
Mm,
awesome, this is great. So I knew eventually that job seeker would stop.
mm,
And I would have to figure out what else I was going to do. The problem was, though, is that I had had such an extensive background in travel and events, which was just a complete shit show when COVID
mm.
hit. Like that wasn't
And for a long time, like,
long
oh my
time,
God, that was, I
long
reckon, one
time.
of the worst hit
Yeah.
industries. Yeah.
Right. So I was like, fuck, how am I going to make this work? I'm a single mum. So my income is the income.
Yeah.
And I did what most people did when they got made redundant during COVID. I cried, ate all the ice cream, watched all the Netflix I could possibly imagine.
Love that.
Um, it's great. Best time of my life. But then I was like, well, this isn't going to pay the bills. So I've got to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do. And I actually threw a post-it note party. So if you haven't heard of this,
What
it's not
is
my
this?
concept. I stole it from Amy Porterfield and I
That's
tell
fine.
everybody about it.
I'm into it.
So I love
Tell
it. Absolutely love it. So what I do is, and I use this even in my business now when I'm like stuck on an idea or I feel like I need to make big decisions or I'm just like, fuck, it's a really shitty day. I put on some music, like really cool music that gets my lady juices flowing, like just makes me
Nice.
feel good.
Nice.
And then I jot everything on in my head onto post-it notes and I put it up on the wall. Now I'm a little bit obsessed with stationery. So if you are watching the YouTube version of this, you'll be able to see my colored
Yeah.
post-it notes everywhere. Oh, love stationery. And everything goes onto a post-it note and I put it up on the wall. And then I just leave it there for about 24 hours. And then I
Hmm.
come back and I review it. And it was in that moment of doing that post-it note party where I put down everything that I loved, everything that I hated, everything that I was good at, everything that anybody else told me I was good at, which that was a hard one.
I'm
Don't
sure
take
it was
compliments very well. So I
not.
was like, think, Leah, think. And then I came back and I was like, you know what? I'm really good at managing things. Like, I'm
Mm,
a really good project manager. Like when you think about it, putting on an event or moving groups of people, like that's a project. There are so many
yes.
moving parts. There's deadlines. There's so many risks involved. Like there's so much you have to think about. And I was like,
Mm,
I'm just really good at helping people understand how to do that and putting that together. So yeah, that's how I kind of moved into the virtual assistant space of going, how can I help businesses manage certain areas of their business
yeah.
and just help them out, because I wasn't really
Mm,
sure how I wanted to kind of piece that together, or niche down, as people say. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to help everybody do everything. And it was in that moment, that it all started. And I have
wow.
had my business since August 2020. Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool. How did you go? How did it feel moving from employee to business owner? Was that a rude
Oh, I
shock?
was so fucking scared. So scared. I'm not even going to sugarcoat the shit out of that. Like it was so scary. And I
Yeah,
think because I knew I had to make it work. Like being a single
yeah,
income earner, I was like, I really don't have a choice,
yeah.
because my options to go back to being an employer, I would have to go back to an industry that I knew I wouldn't love. It would have been retail, telecom, like it would have been something that just would not have lit me up. Like
Mm,
I would have literally done it just to pay the bills and put food on the table. And I was like, I don't want to do that. That's like,
yeah.
I've worked so hard in my career to get to a
Mm,
place where I enjoy the sector and the people and the things that I do, that I don't want to have to feel like I have to restart that all over again and find a
yeah,
new passion.
yeah.
Um, but I also knew on the other flip side of that, where I was like, if I start a business, bitch has got to hustle. I was like, shit.
Oh my
so,
God, yes.
so I mean, it was scary, but I think like there's definitely milestones that you come across where it's like, the first year, the second year, the third year of business, and all those bits and pieces. And I think it definitely just came down to the fact that when I started to do more work with more clients,
Mm,
and people were referring me to other people, and I was getting really good feedback. I mean, don't get me wrong, it hasn't been all fucking rainbows and butterflies, but it was in that moment where I was like, you know what, I'm actually a hell of a lot stronger than what I thought I was. Like that
yes.
fear that I had in myself of almost being like, I have to make this work at any cost. I
Mm,
now look back at that and go, that's some resilient shit. Like not a lot of people have that in them. And I really have to give myself a lot of credit for sticking through and making it
mm.
work.
Oh my God, you've just given me goosebumps. Fuck, business is really fucking hard. And if
Oh god, yeah.
for anyone listening right now, if you are waking up in the morning and you're not giving up on your business, you are fucking amazing. Like,
Yep.
holy.
So true. So
Oh
true.
my
It takes a
God.
special kind of human being to run a business, because it's big and it's scary and there's so many unknowns. Even if you have contracts in place and retainers and you've got all these things that you feel like you're secure in, there's still so many unknown things that are happening. But in saying that, after 3 years, I will never go back and work for somebody else. I will never be an employee number or receive a paycheck or anything like that. Like I fucking
Totally.
love it. As much
Yeah.
as sometimes I wake up and I go, fuck, this is stressful.
Totally.
um, I still wouldn't change it for the world. Like that, I have met so many amazing people. I've got to do so many amazing things that I know I wouldn't have been able to do if I was sitting at a desk waiting for the clock to hit 5 o'clock.
Yeah. And you know what? Like having a job's stressful too.
Oh
So
God, yeah.
why not build something amazing for yourself and
Why not?
channel
Why
that
not be
stress
angry
into
at
your own thing?
yourself? Like why not?
Yeah,
Like if you're
you
like you get stressed out as a business owner and you're like, oh my God, why is this so stressful? You literally have nobody else to blame. Like what a
yeah.
wake up call that is, right? Go
Oh
and
my
yell at
God,
the
it's
boss,
insane.
put in your resignation. Oh wait, that's me. I can't do that because it's my shit show. So like if
Totally.
that's not the wake up call that you need, then I don't
Mhm.
know what else to tell you.
Oh my God, that is so true. I love that. What's one of the biggest challenges you faced in the
Mm.
last few years of business that you wish someone had told you about?
Oh, babes, how long we got? We could
Yeah,
be
it's
here
like,
for a while.
we just need to open another bottle of wine,
Yeah,
please.
I don't think we have enough time for this. I would honestly have to say one of the biggest challenges, and I wish someone had told me sooner, is, and it's so easy to say, but like, stop comparing yourself to other
Mm,
people. It's taken me such a long time. And the reason that I found it so hard is because I was comparing myself to people that weren't in a similar position to me. So
yeah.
I am a single mum running a business with a teenager. I
Mm,
was following people that didn't have kids, had a partner, had run a business for potentially 6 to 7 years, if not longer,
yeah.
had all the time and I was like, why am I feeling like I'm not getting the same level of success? And it
Mm,
was because I was trying to compare oranges for apples. Not that
yeah.
I'm saying that women and mums who have kids can't like do all those things, but it's like
Mm,
my timeline is different. The way that I
yeah.
have to react to that is different. So that was my biggest thing, is like, I have to stop comparing myself, but more importantly, I have to stop comparing myself to people that are not even on the same wavelength as me.
And to your point at the start, like design, like following advice or designing a business for an
Yeah,
end game that's not what you want, or and
100%.
on the timeline that's not achievable for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. That's so true. It's just so easy these days to look at Instagram as
Mhm.
the example and say,
Yeah.
why am I failing at life? You know,
Right?
you know,
Right?
it's just insane. And you don't know what anyone else is going through either,
No.
right? You see the pretty smiles and the designer handbags and the I
Yeah.
make $1 billion every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And as much as I used to try to tell myself it's just a highlight reel, like, you don't get to
Mm,
see all the good stuff, when it's all you see all the time, it can be
mm,
really disheartening. So the biggest thing that I've done to get over that, I no longer follow, and like, if I follow someone and my instant reaction is ugh,
mm,
you're gone.
nice.
And it's not because I don't value what it is that you do, but right now in my life, where I'm at in my business, in my family time, that
Yes.
doesn't align with me.
Yeah.
We may have a different conversation in 6 years' time, and I'm like, oh my God, all those people are fucking amazing. And now I follow every single one of them again. But right
Yeah.
now, nah. So it's like, I now follow the people that I look at and go, fuck yeah, I want to do that one day.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that it's like you hold the power to curate your life
100%.
experience.
If you can build your own business, you can build the support that you need around that business yourself. You don't have to go off somebody else's stupid checklist.
No, exactly. I love that. All right. I feel like we could talk all day, but let's leave our Spark community on one final piece of advice.
Yes.
I always like to ask people, when reflecting on your time in business, if you could, have a glass of wine with another woman in business,
Yes.
give her one piece of advice that's helped you through the tough times, what would it be?
I think the biggest piece of advice I would give is to just trust the fact that you know what you're doing.
Mm, yes.
Even if it feels so uncomfortable to admit that to yourself,
Mm,
we as women need to trust our intuition so much more. Like, it's about being able to understand that if it feels good to you, just do it. The worst
yeah.
thing that's going to happen is someone's going to say no, someone's not going to buy it, or you'll never have that idea again. Oh no, it's okay. Nobody fucking died. Like, we're not brain surgeons, people, right? So
Yes.
it's like, if you feel like you want to do something, do it. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. But not doing it isn't going to be the answer for you. So just trust your intuition and give it a go.
You are incredible, Leah.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for spending your time and sharing your
Of
wisdom with the Spark
course.
community. You are
Anytime.
absolutely incredible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's been amazing. Thank you so much.